Hi, welcome to the Drama-Free Living podcast with Dennis and Lisa McIntee, and we're continuing this idea about work-life balance and some of the lies that people believe, and we covered some of them in the previous podcast, and we got some more, so we want to kind of dive into them.
Absolutely, and we're talking about burnout, what burnout really is, and how burnout plays into the concept of work-life balance. This is our third podcast on burnout, work-life balance. So if you want some more information or you want to dive in a little deeper, the first podcast, we kind of dove into the whole concept, the idea of what is burnout and how it plays a role in our lives today, and what are the effects of having an unbalanced work-life system, and then what are the benefits and the perks.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So listen, if you have not downloaded your ideal life, your personal constraints analysis measuring 6 areas of your life, we got it there in the show notes. It's our gift to you. You can have it for free. And
it's a way for you to just kind of figure out, okay, where am I at in life? Because sometimes, there's the saying, you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. Sometimes we don't really know how we're doing or what's going on in our life because we're too close to the situation. And we need to ask other people, get some feedback, or sometimes we need to take some of these analyses and just figure out, okay, where am I at? Let me throw in some other questions or ideas and figure out, where do I land in this? And am I actually at a healthy balance? Or honestly, maybe my life balance is not heavy enough and I need a little stronger work side. Or maybe it's the other way around, depending on what generation you are and where you're at.
Right. Or what life stage and
Or your background.
There you go. So let's kind of get into some more lies, because I thought it was helpful for me to kind of go through, because I find myself just buying into some of these and realizing, wait.
Without evaluating them. You hear the statement, you buy into it, but you don't evaluate it and discover, okay, is this true, and do I want this statement to ascribe to my life?
Yeah, and how many times do we just buy into a truth that really isn't even a reality for us?
Or buy into something that's not even a truth.
There you go. So one lie is taking breaks. You take a break, you're just being lazy, Lisa. You're taking a break.
And sometimes these things are a result of things that were programmed into us when we were kids.
Yeah.
They are statements that our parents could have made, a teacher could have made, or they're ideas that we thought that we never challenged these thoughts. And so now they a little bit run our lives and they rule the decisions we make.
Yes, they do, right? So the lie is taking breaks is a sign of laziness or lack of dedication. And listen, it's not really true, because we need this cognitive renewal. When we continue to focus on a task, it really leads to like this mental fatigue. We have diminished creativity. We lose our problem-solving ability. And so taking breaks, it's almost like you need to give your brain a rest.
Absolutely.
Right? Give your brain a rest. Give it an opportunity to reset. And it really kind of improves your cognitive function while you're at work. But a lot of times, if we don't give our brain a chance to rest, then it doesn't step back and get more energy.
Mm-hmm. And then another part, taking a break is a sign of laziness or lack of dedication. If you turn around and look at it as, well, it's actually just a stress reducing time. It's a time it's a time to lower our stress level, because breaks, they play a crucial role in our stress reduction.
Yeah.
Stepping back from our work allows us to manage the stress of work, just like stepping back from our personal lives or even stepping back from our kids allows us to reduce the stress in that. Because when we're in something that's high stress for an extended period of time, it's very hard to regulate. And chronic stress negatively impacts us. It impacts our entire well-being, emotionally, physically, mentally, and it can really hinder our long-term dedication to our work.
Well, Lisa, and you even think about strengthening a muscle. If you want to, right? The growth and the strength becomes in the recovery, not in the stress.
Right.
While stress, you have to stress it is the first part. But think about our own personal growth and personal development. It happens in that recovery time. Mm-hmm. We're able to step back and kind of self-examine. But if we're always, just working and always busy, then we never have a chance to self-examine.
And we can't strengthen a muscle without both. You have to stress it, and then you have to relax it also.
Yeah.
And so it's the same with work, is that you do have to push it and push yourself to be able to attain those goals or to make your life better, but you have to relax and pull back for that balance and that ebb and flow of life.
Yeah, and another way to kind of look at breaks is this whole idea of strategic time management, right? And so effective time management really is about like knowing when breaks are necessary for optimal productivity. I mean, we've covered like the Pomodoro rule. There's so many, different hacks we've covered before in different podcasts. But this idea of strategic time management is being strategic with your time, really prioritizing your time, right? Because strategic breaks can lead to can kind of prevent procrastination. Because I typically procrastinate when I don't feel confident or capable, but when I'm always stressed and always like on the clock, it starts to like diminish some of those things.
It does. It does. And we, the beginning of the year, we had 4 podcasts, and it just talked about goal setting and what's important to you and how to set goals and different systems based on your learning style or your life situation. And those are great ways to figure out strategic time management, to figure out how to put time toward the areas that are a priority to you.
Right. So it is a lie. Taking breaks is a sign of laziness or lack of dedication.
That's a lie.
Right.
It is not true.
Right.
Taking a break is probably the most healthy thing that you could do for you and for those around you.
Yeah, because a little bit, I mean, how many times, I know my team loves it when we take time off because they always know when we're a little bit overstressed because we're not as nice to be around, right? We get a little cranky, a little, sometimes not as cordial. That's just the reality. And so being able to take a break really kind of helps reset us.
Now, obviously, we are talking to typical overachievers because there is a whole subset of culture that honestly, you just need to work a little bit more. You just need to put the time in. You need to focus on some achievements a little bit more. So if that's you, this does not apply. If that's you, get going, learn some skills.
Right. And remember, we're talking about lies between work-life balance, not just all life. It's like there's a work piece to this.
Yes, there is. There's the life piece and there is the work piece. So that means you have both. And you need to work on both. And I guess another part of work-life balance is you can't have your life too high. And we're not really talking about that because we typically work with—
usually the opposite.
We typically work with extremely high-functioning individuals that are overachievers and that are a little bit more high-powered. And so—
Basically, we're kind of targeting here.
Let's just, just to balance that out.
Okay, so another lie is it's only a concern. Listen, work-life balance, only a concern if you have young families or children or teenagers. But if you're empty nesters, it doesn't apply.
Or if you don't have children at all, or if you're not married.
Yeah, and kind of stepping back and realizing, everybody should have personal development and pursuits, right? It's not just about family obligations and I got to be here for the kids and this and that, but it's also about different goals and different hobbies. And, Lisa, what I love, and I'm just kind of thinking about our team, is we have team members in all different areas.
In stages and phases of life,
right? We have one a team member that has no children, newly married. We have another team member that has children, teenagers, and then we have team members that have grandchildren and
team members that aren't married. We've pretty much got it all.
Yeah, and just realizing it's not just for the team member with children. Right. Our team members with children, this is only who it's about, right? Because I was even thinking about one particular team member. She's involved with all these nonprofits. She, gives all her time to these different that really fill her up, that she's very passionate about. And we always want to make space for that and encourage that kind of space.
And you can also be out of work-life balance with those things.
Yeah.
Just because you don't have the pull of maybe young children at home that are pulling on you or caring for an elderly parent at your house or nearby.
Yeah, and so I think leaders have to understand, give people space to do some of these other pursuits because what I've realized, they always come back to work super energized and supercharged.
Because we all need to work, but we also all have lives.
Yeah.
And we need those lives.
Yeah.
Social and community engagement. So the lie is it's only a concern with those with families with minor children. And really, we need to be socially engaged. We need to be community engaged. Mm-hmm. Those are just things that are fulfilling. It's a way that we make lives better for everyone around us. It's a way to contribute to social causes. It's a way to contribute to society. Yeah. It's a way to make this world a better place 10 years from now or for those that are coming behind us. And these are significant areas for personal fulfillment, and they're not exclusive to individuals with families.
Yeah, and the more fulfilled I am, the more productive I am at work. I just know that happens to be the case. The more fulfilled, and if I can, go out and give some time to these different things that we're real passionate about, I always come back and in a little bit, Lisa, I learn different things. I become just a more well-rounded individual.
Well, you're typically with different types of people in different environments that you don't come across in the day-to-day of your work environment.
And it just helps your perspective, and it really helps your creativity. Another one is this whole changing demographics and lifestyle. The reason that it's really not true because, you even think about the traditional family structure, it looks totally different.
It does.
It looks totally different than what it looked like even how we grew up and how people grow up today, completely different. And so realizing—
And there's a lot of people that they have family, but they're not biologically related. They're not blood, but they are as family as other members who are blood related.
Yeah, and looking at it's expanded, it's changed, and changing with it, right? And I think work-life balance is kind of reflect this diversity that we really see. And as the world continues to change, we have to change some of our definitions of some of these things.
Right. And part of that really has to do with because we can so easily travel across the country and across the world, there are a lot of people, their families no longer are just that nuclear family that lives on your 100 acres. Typically, people have family, biological blood relatives that are all over the world or all over the states, all over the country, and you kind of develop your own new family, your own new community. And so because of the way our world is and how close our world is those relationships that those people that we really come to depend on look completely different.
Yeah, so it's a lie. It's for everybody. It's a lie that it's just for young families, for young children.
Yeah.
It's for everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody needs it. Another lie is that it can be achieved once, and then that's all you have to do. Maintained indefinitely, don't have to ever work on it again.
Yeah, and that totally works with my weight and my health and all of that, because I am the exact same weight and the exact same level of health that I was when I was 14.
Yeah, what a lie.
Absolutely. Really, we are all smarter than that. Well, that's also how it works in our work environments is that you can't just hit it once and maintain it
indefinitely. This is my schedule, and I'm going to do the schedule every time. And
just because you were able to lift twice your body weight, doesn't mean that you can do it today.
Yeah.
And part of this is technological advances. Okay, technological advances, they've completely transformed the way we interact with work. And it's been an incredible benefit, and it's also been an incredible challenge because it does give us flexibility. It gives us the ability. I would have never thought 20 years ago that I could work from any place I wanted to pretty much in the world.
Right. And then the problem is that I work from every place. Every place I am, I'm always working.
Exactly.
Right?
The
blessing has become a curse.
We were on the airplane yesterday, connected to the internet and just working on a bunch of things. And before, that would have never been a possibility.
Yeah.
But
it was a blessing. But you have to know how to manage that technology.
Right. And it's a reality now. And what that does is it blurs the boundaries between work and personal life.
Yeah.
And so you have to manage these. And with more technologies advancing, that this is also going to change. It's as companies' policies, because before we couldn't do remote working. We couldn't do split shifts. Everything looked different, and now we've got remote working. We have all different methods, and different companies have different policies, different technologies that are available to us. Even kids are bringing home, iPads and things to be able to get their homework done because now you can do it anywhere you are.
Well, right, as technology keeps changing, and Lisa, I think think about this, right? It was the fax machine. Back when we were, just starting out in our—
us?
Oh, I am. Okay, so in our career is a fax machine, right? And then it went to email. right? And now and then what I realize is that people are getting overloaded with email and people don't respond to email. But what companies and different organizations have realized is that, everybody's got a cell phone. So, we'll text you. And so something like text has become the new email. And I'm not sure what comes next, but sometimes we feel like as technology advances, it's like, well, our boundaries have to, boundaries are movable and our boundaries have to keep moving with it. And I think when I think about technology, here's sort of the question is, do I own technology or does technology own me? And I think we have to keep it in the right perspective, is that we always want to be the owner with technology. We don't ever want, and I know whenever I feel like it's owning me, I know there's a frustration that just leads to burnout. I never feel like there's this balance because I'm always on.
And I love it that you said that, because our next podcast, we're going to talk about some strategies to deal with that.
Yeah, and so we're going to get into it. It's going to be good, right? So another one is external events and pressures, right? So we have economic conditions, global crises, pandemics, right?
Elections.
Societal changes, and it really can impact work and professional life and personal life, right? And so kind of navigating these external pressures and almost like realize they're there. Right? It's like they're there. They're going to happen. There's going to be different deadlines. I mean, we've talked about before, different industries have different sort of expectations according to different time frames. And I think we have to reassess it periodically.
Absolutely.
And almost like just take an audit, every quarter, every week, every month, what that looks like, not just once a year.
Right. So we need to adapt to the variations of cycles and seasonal demands to truly maintain a sustainable work-life balance and keep ourselves from tipping past the burnout point. And then unfortunately, once we go over that tipping point of burnout, we tend to go into what I call no man's land. And it's just kind of in the fight or fawn mode. You could just kind of go to a stop mode because you have to take so much time to recover. And then you go completely on the other side of overwork.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to reevaluate it. And so I'm thinking like this is a great series to listen to once a quarter. It's like, hey, every quarter, let me reevaluate and kind of look at my life where I'm at.
And really, it's like when you go bowling, especially you have kids, or maybe you're not that great at bowling or special needs, and they put up the bumpers.
I need the bumpers.
They put the bumpers up, and really the bumpers are just boundaries to keep the ball in the lane. That doesn't mean you're going to get a strike every time. It doesn't mean you're going to get 10, 8, 5, 2 pins every time.
Right.
It's going to change depending on how the ball is rolled and what's going on in your stance and how you feel and if you're tired or not. But at least the ball isn't going to go in the gutter and it's just not going to get away from you. And that's really what we're doing here is we're putting up the bumpers on the lane of life and we're keeping the ball in the center so we can have good balance.
Yeah. So listen, don't throw a gutter ball.
No gutter balls.
Right. Put some bumpers and just tell the truth. If you need bumpers, it's like I need bumpers. Right. It's been helpful for me. If it hasn't been helpful for anybody else, hey, these are some bumpers that I need because I've been rolling some gutter balls lately. Right. And so
I mean, that's a really good point. If you're rolling gutter balls in life, that's a really good red flag to say, I think I need some boundaries. I need some bumpers in my life because obviously I've kind of gotten off track and I'm standing over in the far right side of the lane.
Yeah, I kind of feel a book or a product coming out of
I'm
this.
sure. Okay, and the fourth lie.
Yes, tell us what it is.
It is solely an individual's responsibility, and it is not influenced by your workplace culture.
We're just going to call we can't swear on the podcast.
Baloney.
We're going to call it baloney. There we go, right? Okay, so here's the thing, right? Organizational policies, practices, and it's like culture is really shaped by policies and practices. And I think as organizations grow, we have to continue to look at policies and procedures and practices. And, Lisa, I was just talking to a client this morning having a coaching session. And the thing that I kind of warned him, because his organization, when he first came to work with us, he had about 5 employees. And I said, hey, how many do you have right now? He said, oh my gosh, I think we have almost 60.
Wow.
Well, right. And so as we've seen,
that's a huge growth.
It's a fantastic growth, or it's really exciting. But as they continue to grow, it's like policies and procedures. And I kind of explained to him, I said, you started out entrepreneurial, and I said, you have to be careful that you don't become too bureaucratic. that you stifle some of the creativity and innovations. And yes, you need these different policies and procedures, and people need them, but make sure that your policies and procedures kind of enhance work-life balance.
Right.
And I think that's sort of the struggle, because some of the pressures of that, do they support flexible work arrangements, right? Or reasonable work hours, right? It's like, Gilded Age, 888. Right? We talked about that in previous podcasts, but it all kind of contributes to this positive environment in the workplace.
Absolutely. Leadership behavior and expectations. Okay, so the lie that is solely the individual's responsibility and it's not influenced by workplace culture is just totally bald-faced lie, because there's there's leadership behavior and there's expectations. Leadership plays a huge part, a huge role in setting the tone for work-life balance.
Because you model it.
You model it. When leaders model it, when they encourage it, when they talk about a healthy work-life balance, it sends a pretty clear message. It puts that ideal in front of everyone. If it's part of the culture of the company, then it is something that is brought around all the time. It's like one of our family culture things is we used to tell the kids McIntees don't lie. We don't lie.
Right. Hey, are you a McIntee?
Right. And so that was just something that we instilled in our kids, that this is part of our integrity. It's part of who we are. Well, this company's leaders, when they put that out there in front of the whole company and for the employees, it becomes the core of who the company is, and then it trickles down into the core of who the employees are. And so leaders prioritizing that healthy work-life model really helps bring it out in their employees. And so there's a balance within the organization. And there was a news story that came out recently about Kite Baby. And Kite Baby is a company, it's a woman-owned business making clothes for kids and adults now that are like bamboo and stuff. Well, there was an employee, and I told this story on a previous podcast. There was an employee that they adopted a baby, and the baby was premature, and it was in the NICU. And the employee was like, "Hey, can I have some flexibility to work outside of the office so I can be with my baby while my baby's in the hospital?" And she basically ended up getting fired. Even though the company culture said they're all about families, they promote work-life balance, and even some of the different ads really promoted a healthy family structure or even an elevated importance on family over maybe what current culture is. The actions of the CEO completely, it went against what the company was saying their culture was. And she had to get on, she got on national news, or I think it was on TikTok, and basically had to apologize. And that video hit national news. And then she had to apologize again, because the first time wasn't really a good apology. And but that's a really good, the lie is
leadership behaviors.
The leadership behaviors and the message that it sent. Now they will be able hopefully to recover their clientele, but it's going to take a while. And it's going to take a while for the employees of that organization to really trust that, hey, work-life balance is the culture here.
Yeah, it's really good. And so, and another thing when you think about like this lie, it's just the individuals, like, sole responsibility, like the organization doesn't have a part to play. And this is where it's like peer support becomes super important. And really it's like, because people do deal with guilt. I know I deal with guilt. And having somebody say, hey, listen, it's okay. Or, hey, you know what? You do need to take some time off. Or, hey, you know what? You need to be working harder. And, having that peer support to deal with all of these different feelings that kind of stop us and some of these lies and some of these false beliefs. And a little, at least it's why we created a leadership roundtable.
Yeah.
Right. It creates this peer support and this peer accountability, because one thing that we have for our members is they have to define how much off stage and how much on stage time they have. We kind of look at it like a theater.
That's working and
working and then
personal life.
Right. And we never want you to like just crush it professionally and then just leave a wake of mess in your personal life, be unhealthy and, have bad relationships and all these things. So really just having this peer support, because I think it's so freeing to just like tell the truth with somebody and get the truth out there, because once you get the truth out there about you, then you can examine it. But if it stays inside, you're really not able to examine it at all. So this has been good, Lisa. What key takeaway for you? Like, what do you think? Like, what's hitting your brain as we kind of talk through this?
We all know technology is moving quickly, and the technological advances that we're experiencing and the things that are becoming normal, even AI coming in, all of that is affecting how we interact with our day-to-day work and how much our work is flowing into our personal life and how easy it is for us to shut it down. And so I would say that the lie that it can be achieved once and maintained indefinitely, I mean, we like to think that, but truly life in all areas is a matter of focusing on different areas to maintain different areas. And I think that's probably why our ideal life, the personal constraints analysis, I think is really good, because maybe our marriage is doing really great today, but our health is suffering. Or maybe our work and our work-life balance is doing really great, but our social and community relationships are suffering. And being able to sit down and just take an honest look at things, because it does change. And technology forces change and forces it to interfere or be immersed in all areas of our lives.
Yeah, and I think there's this idea that when you improve, everything around you improves. And a work-life balance at its center is just, how do you improve personally in all of these areas? And I think for me, the thing that's kind of hitting my brain is that I need to step back and look at my social and community engagement. I think that I've gotten a little bit one-sided in certain areas with, I think, there's other areas of my personal life that are going fantastic, but there's this community engagement. Because I think it just really well-rounds me, and I really get to see how other people live, and it gives me different perspectives, and I think there'll be a lot of growth that comes from it, so it's kind of hitting me. So this has been fun. If you haven't downloaded the Ideal Life, Your Personal Constraints Analysis, it's there for you.
And it's free.
Yep, and we'll see you next time on the Drama Free Living Podcast.